Hello, my name is Nora Peña, and I am the head of the Sustainable Transport Award program, and I will be your host for today's ceremony. We're celebrating the 19th year of the award. ITDP and the Sustainable Transport Award Committee have worked hard to bring you this year's winner that have implemented innovative, sustainable transport projects from the preceding year. Today, we honor 3 amazing regions that have shown incredible urban planning strategies that have translated to changes on the ground. The Sustainable Transport Award goes to the city of Paris, France. Paris is a repeat winner from 2008, where we celebrated the lead and the start of their pedestrianization and reclaiming of street space. We also have 2 honorable mentions that have delivered 2 very distinct approaches to sustainable transport. The State of Jalisco, Mexico, and the city of Bhubaneswar, India. Our winners are invited to share the stage at the STA Series, where we will take 2023 to showcase the brilliant sustainable transport solutions of Paris, Jalisco, and Bhubaneswar. We will host technical webinars to showcase the best practices and invite experts to answer your questions. We will also provide case studies to capture this snapshot of their work. Today's event would not be possible without the work of the STA Committee. It is comprised of 12 international organizations that work locally, regionally, and globally in the urban transport field. These organizations are the Asian Development Bank, AMEN, Bernard Van Leer Foundation, the Bus Rapid Transit Center of Excellence, CAF, Clean Air Asia, Vespacio, CSED, ITDP, WRI, ICLE, and the World Bank. The committee's role is to evaluate the nominees' strategies and implemented projects in the past 18 months. They assess the before and after story of the city and take into account the relevance with respect to the regional context and positive impact on their city and their residents. We also look at how innovative the interventions are and if they can be replicated in other cities of similar scales. Overall, the cities selected as winners are ideal examples to share their best practices and inspire local change. I want to give a round of applause to the 2023 STA nominees. They all shared stories of transformation for their residents. Here are some of this year's applicants. We hope to see a growing list of applicants for 2024. Please visit staward.org on how to nominate your city for 2024. I would like to introduce the Chief Executive Officer of ITDP, Heather Thompson.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 19th annual ceremony for the Sustainable Transport Award. I am excited and honored to celebrate the 2023 winner, Paris, France, as well as our 2 honorable mentions, Bhubaneswar, India, and the state of Jalisco, Mexico. Of the 12 nominees in the running for the 2023 Sustainable Transport Award, this year's winner and honorable mentions have shown impressive advancements in sustainable urban mobility within their regional contexts. In the face of the growing threat of climate change, these nominees have placed a major focus on improving public health and urban resilience for years to come. They are also shifting paradigms when it comes to urban transport and presenting new ways of thinking about access, inclusion, and equity in their cities. All of this year's nominees took steps to develop cleaner, more modern, and convenient transport solutions, focusing on the brighter experience and accessible design that benefits all people, especially women, children, and people with disabilities. Beyond public transport, the expansion of critical cycling infrastructure over the past year has shown the world promoting more active forms of mobility can provide a number of social, climate, and economic benefits. The nominees converted many kilometers of temporary cycle lanes and facilities into permanent networks, helping to reduce driving, shift behavior, and mitigate harmful emissions and pollution. As they continue to build more high-quality transport systems, it is critical that they have the funding mechanisms and supportive policies to continue moving forward. I also applaud this year's nominees for being drivers of compact, sustainable, and transit-oriented development strategies that are essential to fighting climate change and improving quality of life for us all. With programs like the Sustainable Transport Award, ITDP aims to put a spotlight on more innovative and diverse urban transport solutions every year. In doing so, we hope that cities and governments worldwide can learn from and inspire one another to be agents of change.
I now welcome Kathleen Dematera Contreras, Sustainable Transport Manager at Clean Air Asia, to present the first honorable mention of this year's award.
As a member of the Sustainable Transport Award Committee, Clean Air Asia is proud to present an honorable mention to Bhubaneswar, India, capital and the largest city of Odisha. It's also referred to as the Temple City of India because of the 700 temples which once stood there and the several Kalinga temples, many of them in the 6th to 13th century CE. With Puri and Konark, it forms the Golden Triangle, one of eastern India's most visited destinations, drawing people from the region and from around the world for its architectural and historic significance. The modern city has now emerged as an education hub and as an attractive business destination. The Bhubaneswar metropolitan area has a population of around 1 million people and is categorized as a Tier 2 city and is part of the Smart City mission of India. The partnership between the government agency and the private sector in the operation of the bus rapid transit service has made great strides to achieve interregional and last-mile connectivity in the state of Odisha. Despite the pandemic, it worked hard to revitalize the tourism industry by enhancing user experience and responding to health and environmental factors such as air quality and social distancing. The city has worked to update its infrastructure to be accessible, inclusive, and safe for its citizens and visitors. The city of Bhubaneswar is an inspiring example with great potential for replicability in its region and with a remarkable focus on gender perspective. It is therefore my great pleasure to welcome the city to accept the honorable mention for this year's Sustainable Transport Award.
We at CRUT feel elated in accepting the internationally acclaimed Sustainable Transport Award. On behalf of the entire CRUT team, I would like to thank the Sustainable Transport Award Committee for bestowing CRUT with this prestigious award, and this should motivate us to keep doing the good work and come up with more innovations for the development of the society.
CRUT is the pioneer public transport authority that provides customer-centric transit services in the capital region of the Indian state of Odisha. Previously, the public transport services in the city operated on a net cost contract model which lacked focus on customer-centric operations. With the establishment of CRUT in 2018, we started following gross cost contract model, where our mission was to transform public transport ecosystem by making it sustainable, inclusive, smart, safe, and accessible to all. CRUT's Mo E-Ride service provides feeder services for its primary MoBus routes, forging ways for integrated multimodal mobility solutions that harness synergies created by intersections of mobility, energy and technology, and induce a paradigm shift towards enhancing the quality of life of the citizens. According to user survey report, 57% passengers have shifted from other modes of transport to MoBus. Backed by our strong gender-inclusive recruitment policies, we have been successful in achieving 40% participation of women as conductors in MoBus and 100% participation from women, transgender, and socially disadvantaged people as drivers of Mo E-Ride. Recently, we have also made provision for women to join our crew as drivers of MoBus. We feel gender inclusion in public transport would change the face of commuter experience. To improve the quality of our service, we have made the non-commuting spaces as delightful as on-board experiences. The well-lit bus queue shelters enabled with BIS, MoBus map, separate dustbins act as safe and comfortable waiting areas. The depots of CRUT are constructed following green building norms that act as one-stop solution for daily operational activities. Our strength lies in understanding our users closely with the help of a structured, disaggregated ticketing system based on gender, age, and physical ability, which enables us to plan and schedule our services in a highly sensitive manner. Safety being our topmost priority, all MoBuses are enabled with emergency panic buttons and CCTV surveillance, along with the additional facilities provided by MoBus app, where commuters can live track their journey and avail other online services. During the pandemic, we mobilized thousands of frontline workers, and with our aided services like grocery on wheels for containment zones and bus queue shelters turned vegetable vending zones, we have been at service throughout. We provided our crew with 100 hours of training and capacity building program known as Bus Pathshala. It was during the pandemic that we came up with the Mo E-Ride initiative and started providing the beneficiaries with the LMV driving training program. Our recently launched e-bus and e-rickshaw services paved way for green mobility solutions. There is a plan proposed for establishment of a state-of-the-art training center for the crew of CRUT in the coming years. With our plans to scale far and wide to the different cities of our state, we feel this would aid our mission to connect people and places through sustainable mobility network where we ride with pride, and this is the way we move together.
मो E-Ride रे अधिकांश समय मो कॉलेज को आसे तार बेसी भल जिनस आमको प्राइवेट ऑटो मानकर से जड़े लोक हेल्ले नियंतिनी 4-5 जन हेल्ले जाइए आम से टाइम को से गुरुत्व दियंतिनी एमाने गोटे पिला हेल्ले भी एमाने नेकी आसंती
सदाले एटा कंठाई नेके नंदनकानन डमणारू नंदनकानन बिक्री करिया को आसुची मो बस रे हमरे सुविधा होउची एसी बस रे हम आसुची टिकट आ जिनस रे लगेज काट के यात्रा करूची सदाले जिबा आसियार एटा हम पाए मो बस गवर्नमेंट बस बेसी भल सुविधा पाए।
हाँ मते तो बहुत सेफ्टी भी फील हैला। फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल झियो मानको पई एटा फर्स्ट प्राइवेट ए रोचे सेफ्टी एंड बहुत भल सर्विस अछि भल भी लागे ट्रैवल करिया को।
ई बसटा बहुत कंफर्टेबल अछि आ भल अछि नॉइज पोल्यूशन बेसी नुआ आ सेथरे यात्रा करले भल लागे।
Since winning the 2017 Sustainable Transport Award Honorable Mention, the City of Windhoek has improved the standard of its buses by installing GPS tracking system in all its 64 operating buses. We currently save about 3,500 passengers on a daily basis, mainly from the northeastern to the city center, where most job opportunities are found. We use the tracking system in order to ensure that our drivers are driving on the correct route and also that they arrive at the bus stop as per scheduled time. We are also able to do driver profiling so that we can identify the required training needs. We have also increased capacity on our network by introducing a new shopping line that operates over the weekend. We are currently waiting for a new advanced integrated ticketing system that's going to help improve our services. Whilst busy with the public transport, We have also started advancing our non-motorized transport infrastructure, having constructed our first cycling lane around the city. We also have 2 solar charging stations at universities around town. With the advancement in NMT, we also installed bicycle parking at numerous spots at the City of Windhoek's head office.
Let's welcome Nicolas Estupian, Sectoral Analysis Director at CAP, who will present the honorable mention to the state of Jalisco.
As an STA member, we are very honored to present this year the honorable mention to Jalisco, Mexico. Jalisco is one of the country's most important regions. It's very known for its biodiversity richness and the cultural and historical heritage it has. The state of Jalisco has been implementing several projects, in particular one, the BRT system, Mi Macro Periférico. This system has helped increase the service, the coverage, the frequencies, and the services of transportation systems in Jalisco. With this system, it has reached almost 300,000 passengers per day. It has increased the electronic payments in 20%, and it has reduced travel times by 50%. Through the implementation of other programs, it has created important amounts of public space, creating inclusive spaces for people, for pedestrians, for cyclists. It has improved accessibility to urban opportunities, and it has enhanced affordability. With all this work, with all these efforts, we really want to congratulate Jalisco. And now please join us in welcoming the state of Jalisco to receive this year Sustainable Transport Honorable Mention.
Saludo con gusto a las personas que nos ven. A nombre del gobernador de Jalisco, Enrique Alfaro, y de todas y todos los jaliscienses, agradezco al Comité de Transporte Sustentable del Instituto para la Política de Transporte y Desarrollo por la mención honorífica del Premio de Transporte Sustentable a Mi Macro Periférico. Un proyecto integral que ha venido a darle otra cara a esta vialidad tan transitada y al transporte del área metropolitana de Guadalajara. Este reconocimiento es muy importante para nuestra metrópoli, ya que tiene la visión de privilegiar la movilidad de quienes más lo necesitan, de manera digna, segura, con accesibilidad, equidad y perspectiva de género. Además, este proyecto forma parte de la estrategia de sustentabilidad para abonar a las metas que nos hemos trazado en el Plan de Acción Climática Metropolitano para lograr la descarbonización. Mi Macro no se queda solo en el corredor de autobuses articulados. La nueva cara del periférico incluye la recuperación de espacios públicos, banquetas y cruceros seguros y una ciclovía segregada en todo el corredor urbano para que la movilidad sea integral y accesible. Con Mi Macro Periférico tenemos la oportunidad de disminuir la violencia comunitaria que se vivía en las rutas de transporte público que antes circulaban por esta vía, brindando así opciones seguras de movilidad para las personas más vulnerables, como niñas y mujeres. Esto se materializa en programas como Mujeres Conductoras, a través del cual se capacita de manera teórica y práctica para poder incorporarse a bolsas de trabajo de las empresas transportistas, o la capacitación a las y los operadores en el protocolo de prevención de la violencia sexual comunitaria en el transporte público. Además, los entornos de las estaciones de Mi Macro Periférico cuentan con módulos de servicio con lactarios y cambiadores para ofrecer espacios seguros en los viajes encadenados que suelen hacer las mujeres, y que por su misma naturaleza son tan necesarios. Quiero felicitar a las ciudades ganadoras. El reto de transformar nuestras ciudades para hacerlas más humanas, resilientes, accesibles y equitativas nos une. Con este ejercicio hemos aprendido mucho y estamos comprometidos en poner lo aprendido en marcha para ser líderes en la acción climática. Reitero el agradecimiento al ITDP por, entre tantos proyectos analizados, otorgar a Jalisco y al área metropolitana de Guadalajara esta distinción. Con la transformación del transporte público durante los 4 primeros años de la administración actual, Jalisco tiene rumbo en materia de movilidad segura, digna y sustentable. Muchas gracias.
I would like to introduce Aimee Gauthier, Chief Knowledge Officer at ITDP, to present the winning STA Award to the City of Paris, France.
Hi everyone, on behalf of the STA Committee, it is my pleasure and privilege to present the 2023 Sustainable Transport Award to Paris, France. The City of Paris has shown what bold leadership can do to transform our streets, and not only that, but transform the way that we think of how cities should be designed. They're doing that by reducing their dependence on cars as well as the space they allocate to cars. In 2020, during the pandemic, the city took the bold step of putting pop-up bike lanes on major thoroughfares to relieve congestion on public transport. These were so successful that they're being made permanent. And in fact, on some thoroughfares, there are more cyclists using them than motorists. With this explosion of ridership, we're also seeing more and more women cycling. And now Paris has committed to becoming a 100% cyclable city. We're also seeing Paris reclaim space for children. They've created over 160 street zones where they reclaim space from cars and create open spaces for kids to be safe in and to play in. Cities have been hostile to children for far too long, and Paris is rectifying that. Finally, Paris is reclaiming parking spaces for pedestrians and green space. Paris has been a first mover when it comes to green infrastructure, which is going to be even more critical as we feel the effects of climate change from extreme heat and extreme rain. So what we're seeing is this transformation from concrete and asphalt to a city full of public spaces and public squares with abundant trees, permeable green space, bike lanes, pedestrian zones, all grounded in a solid public transport system. It's also championing other things like the 15-minute city, but it is this transformation of public space that is truly striking. And they're doing this all through the lens of gender inclusion. So Paris is showing all of us a blueprint for our cities for tomorrow, one that prioritizes people, mitigates climate change, and centers inclusion and resilience. It's showing us what could happen when we transform our cities for people and take space away from cars. And they're showing us that you can take space away from cars and in fact create a much, much better city for all. It's been inspirational to see what Paris has been up to, and it is an honor and a privilege to award them the 2023 Sustainable Transport Award.
We are making a real revolution in Paris. Yesterday, the public space in this town was dedicated essentially to individual cars, and now we give back this public space. It's like a Robin Hood policies to develop another use, like a bicycle, like walking, like public transportation, like nature. Because facing with the crisis, climate crisis, we have to change the town for us and for the children.
We at ITDP would like to thank the Sustainable Transport Award Committee, our winners, the State of Jalisco, Bhubaneswar, and Paris, all our nominees, and thank you, the audience, for joining us today.